Oh, hello and welcome to the hell that is Euston Station's piazza. As we wait for HS2 to eventually burst through at the far end there, you'll see another sign of 1960s modernity in the distance there with the Euston Tower. That, just like Euston Station, a 1968 wonder of its time, is going to be changed. They're going to rebuild it or reclad it effectively. This rather interesting office block here, which was put up in the early 1970s, I think is a Richard Seaford building. It joined up to a block at the far end which went because of the HS2 extension, and we've got another one which paralleled it at the other end. So there was one either side. You see all this lovely tile work. I think it's lovely. This building here is a later thing. An array of bicycles. So yeah, why am I doing this video? A good point really. You're probably wondering, why would you want to do a video about Euston Station? Well, I'm not doing Euston Station, it's sort of Euston and going into Bloomsbury, but you know, I have a fondness, a weird fondness for Euston Station because it is something that was opened a year before I was born. So for a long time it was something that was very modern, new, brash, bold, you know, and it is very much of its time, and unfortunately it's sort of had its time as far as modern tastes are concerned. Although the irony is, as usual, that the love of brutalism and modern architecture from the mid to late 60s and early 70s is now back in vogue, which means they'll be taking away something they'll later regret, rather than actually just trying to clean it up, refurbish it. But instead they're just going to bastardize it, ruin it, and then regret it later. I do like this concrete tower, which I assume, let's just try and get into it, he says, there, just above that white tile bit is I think it's a cooling tower, and that used to jut out very much as a single thing in the piazza area when it first opened up, but now it's sort of lost with everything else. That flag in the background is flying above what used to be a British Railways building, and would originally probably been a North West London railway building. I'm not sure, or LMS, I don't know. I'm not a massive railway expert, so I would have filmed a bit closer to all the entrance, but it's a bit risky because everybody's sort of filing out. It's in the morning. This is quite a reasonable place to take a bit of video. You can see these boards they put up. There's a number of those in the piazza. They thought that was a good idea because they'd taken away the main board for displaying the trains to replace it with advertising, and then there was a big problem with that because people didn't want these huge great adverts, and they were told put it back. So these boards were probably a massive waste of money as usual. So I'm just going to film without talking too much out of the station. So this bit here is the bus station, such as it is, and the front of Euston Station has seen an awful lot of change in recent years, because the bit of the front used to be gardens, yeah, and now it's been replaced by, well, this was taxi ranks up until quite recently, and now it's half a garden. There's still taxis here, but I can't quite understand really what they're doing. And these stumps of trees are the trees that they pulled, they chopped down at their bases but have regrown, so they're London plane trees. So rather than walk that way, I'm going to walk this way because it's a bit quieter, more respectable. This is the War Memorial, which would have been, I suppose, in this spot originally. The famous Euston Arch was actually in the station complex area, okay, in its original site. I think someone said it's where the Burger King is now. That may not be reliable information. The more London plane trees here, which are of a younger age. I'd imagine these were planted at about the time as saplings when the station was opened in the late 60s. Again, could be wrong. So this is a war memorial which I think dates from the 20s, so it'll be remembering the First World War, and in particular presumably the railway men who were killed. These lamp standards are rather nice. I think they are of an age, again left to neglect. And then we have the lodge houses, which are original, with all the names. The destinations are where the railways used to go. London and North Western Railway is what it should those initials stand for in those scrolly bits. And this is now a pub, the Euston Tap, as you can see. Try not to get run over here. Is that coach going in there? No. This is the Euston Road. It is really busy and I've got to try and cross it quickly to give the jockey. Alright, so traffic fumes are plenty here. And this is the other lodge house, which I've noticed they've cleaned the graffiti off. There was a lot of graffiti. You can see the stains of where the graffiti were. I overheard a conversation between someone from Network Rail and someone else about a week or two ago, and the reason why they're taking the graffiti off is not because they care about the heritage of the building. No, it's not. It's because they were trying to rent it out, and I believe it's going to be a coffee business, so you can have beer over there and coffee here. So it's not the love of the building for historical reasons, it's because of its monetary worth, as usual. So this is, I think, the new taxi pull-in bit, which there was a lot of criticism from taxi drivers that it wasn't very clever. And you can see how the trees were originally. They've left a few. They did a better job of keeping things than they did over here on the other side where they chopped them all down. So just peeking above the buildings there, you can see the top of the BT Tower. Another 60s progressive building which is going to be turned into a hotel, but it still says BT at the top. We'll just try and close in on that. There you go, BT. They'll probably keep that, the only bit they will keep. Just waiting for the lights to change. The building over there, that is Friends House, which is the main offices for the Society of Friends, otherwise known as the Quakers. I was hoping to cross them, but I can't because the lights haven't changed, and they're just about to, so I'll be able to cross any second now. So yeah, it's called Friends House. My auntie and uncle were Quakers. They're around long enough to be senior Quakers. Yeah, Friends House. With a rather nice garden in the front of it, which is very nicely looked after. So I mean, this building probably dates from the 1920s. Is that sort of neo-Georgian thing that they used to do then. Quite magnificent in its own way. Probably steel framed. And really nicely looked after, but I wouldn't expect anything different from the Society of Friends because, you know, they have a reputation for being a caring organisation. And right, so this is now taking us into fairly familiar territory because it's sort of Bloomsbury. We're going into the Bloomsbury area and all of this early 1800s architecture, townhouses, whatever you want to call them. Busy. It's actually about 25 past 8 in the morning, so I'm just filming this going into work. I've done 3 videos this morning actually. I've done one on the station, on Station Road Edgware about the Railway Hotel, and I did one in sort of Edgware Station area, and then this one. So I don't know, I'm obviously in the mood for doing videos. Which I'm sure you're delighted to hear because the They are always thrilling, interesting, aren't they? Yeah, well, I try my best. I'm under no illusion that it's not everybody's taste. Anyway, I want to show you this building here. Now, I shot a video a few weeks ago, which was the front of this building, which is the University College London chemistry building. So the front of it, on what is Gordon Street, is a very sort of brutal concrete thing, but at the back there's far more windows, but also this fantastic mini staircase. And I don't know whether it's just the same time as the main building. I don't think so. I think it was done to look a little bit like it could be, but it joins up to this other building, which is UCL building as well. It's fantastic building, put up sometime in the 90s, 2000s, and is the School of Slavonic and East European Studies. And I love the way they've done the windows. And it's all brick as well. Wonderful. So anybody who thinks, oh, Mark's not really a fan of modern architecture, that's nonsense. I like architecture, and if it's interesting and well thought out, I like it. And I think that the way they've done these arches is exemplary. And then on to now, as I said, onto familiar territory, because I've been in this area before and done a video. So this is the Department of Anthropology building, but it is also the archaeology building for UCL. So it's all very much UCL around here. Some of it using the old Georgian buildings here, but I mean, there's a lot of University College London. This is the back of Gordon Square, so I might as well walk you through Gordon Square, why not? So this is the, as I said, the other part of this building, which is the archaeology bit. And this is, it used to be a road, and they put all this seating in for students. So I'm just going to find my way through into the park, which is probably the quietest bit of video I've done today, hopefully, and most peaceful. So this is Gordon Square Garden. I won't read it out, you can read that yourself, you can pause it if you want. So this is effectively owned by, I think, the University of London. They look after it, they're responsible for it, and they're contractors. It could be better in my opinion, but there again, the thing is, it gets very heavily used by students and office workers in the summer to sit out, which is why it's a bit threadbare, like here. And it's actually, the 11th of June today, so it's all in bloom. I mean, the changing seasons in this park are really great, obviously with all these different types of trees. Although this one, of course, is a holly tree or something like that. It's an evergreen. But yeah, it's a nice park, and I'm very fortunate to have it on my doorstep. And I'd use it more if it wasn't for the fact that it is so heavily used. So it's not a quiet space to come to at lunchtime, apart from maybe in the winter. But who sits in the park in the winter? Some people do. But yeah, this is probably as quiet as it's going to be. Because by, 10:30, 11 o'clock it starts to get busy. Over there is Euston Church, and the former Dr. Williams Library through the trees. And then we have this rather charming garden kiosk, which I assume was the park keeper's cottage, where they kept all the equipment for grass cutting, this, that and the other. There's a little blackbird there. Hello, blackbird. Off he goes. But it's now a cafe where they do tea, coffee, cakes and food. Very, very nice actually. Highly recommend it. They do an awful lot in a very small space in there. Momo's Garden Gate. And another board here with different information on it about Gordon Square Garden. There we are. and then back to a familiar site, which is the Warburg Institute and Woburn Square. So it's just illustrating the fact that this architecture was the predominant, this sort of Georgian stuff was the predominant architecture with gardens, formal gardens, so that people had a garden they could go into, because they didn't have necessarily all the houses had gardens. Some of them did, some of them didn't. So yes, that's it. Another video. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you didn't, terribly sorry. Thank you for watching.